Hey you guys, it's your girl Kimia, aka Kimmy with Kimmy Cuts. I am actually right now about to show you guys a tutorial that I did of an undercut with the beard trim. And on top of that, what we did was did a 0-degree trim with a little bit of 45-degree layering on top. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscribe button now. You don't want to miss it.
In this video, you will be learning how to do an undercut taper, a 0-degree elevation, a 45-degree layer cut, and a beard trim. Enjoy! So the first thing you want to do prior to is to do a consultation. A consultation is important because at that moment, you and your client decide what hairstyle they're getting and what best suits them. So make sure you understand and figure out when their last haircut was, what they're trying to get, and make sure that the texture or the haircut that they want, their texture actually can accommodate that style. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to saturate his hair to make sure it's manageable for me to be able to navigate through it. As I was brushing, I noticed a lot of dead hair coming off. That's because he hasn't had a trim in over a year. So what we're going to do eventually, we're going to section the hair off into 3 sections. The reason why we section the hair off is so that way it's easier for you to navigate through the haircut. And also that ensures that your haircut is even and balanced all the way throughout. You want to start at the very top of, or very front of the head, all the way to the nape of the head. I always put my finger at the back when I'm sectioning, straight down, so that ensures that my finger always finds my finger and my parting is even. Once we get that out the way, we're going to section from the crown of his head to where the ear attaches. And those are going to be my 2 front sections. So you're going to have 1 big back section and you're going to have 2 smaller sections just for this haircut. Because we're pretty much trimming his hair. We're doing a 0-degree elevation with 45-degree angles in it to create a little bit of layering to get those split ends that traveled up his hair shaft. Split ends do not travel down, they travel up. So the longer you wait to get your split ends cut off, the more haircut or more hair you eventually have to get cut off, simply because it's damaging your hair. It's going to make your hair break off. So now that we got all the other sections out the way, we're going to pin the last one up, and we're going to focus on the nape undercut. We're going to start off with fading the undercut first, and then we're going to go into cutting the longer hair. Again, with the sections, they always tell you where you were, where you are, and where you're going in your haircut. So it's like a navigational guide. So what I'm doing now is I am preparing the back to begin the fading process. I'm combing the hair in the direction that it grows, so that way I make sure that I'm cutting in the right direction and I'm not creating any gaps because of cowlicks or any way that his hair is growing. So I took my magic clips and I closed them all the way down, and I'm creating my first guide. Guides are very important in haircuts because they ensure that your haircut is going to be balanced and even all the way around. Next, I'm going to take my Andes outliner and I'm going to bald out the bottom section to create that evenness and smoothness and that bald taper. Again, make sure all your guides are even so that way your haircut stays balanced. So now I'm going to open up my clippers and I'm going to create my second guide. Guides are always useful because they always show you where you need to go in a haircut. As you can see, I use my comb to help me when I'm doing my guide, so that way I ensure that my guide is even all the way around. I'm blowing the hair out the way so that way I can see what I'm doing. So now what I'm doing is I'm actually closing the clipper halfway to blend out that bottom line that I just created. So now I'm going to take my Osters and I'm going to take the number 3 clipper guard, and I'm going to take out the bulk of the hair. And the reason why we're going to take out the bulk of the hair is simply because you don't want that mushroom look and you want everything to blend naturally. With my 0 guide, then I went in with my larger guide, my number 3, and I'm going to fade my way down. So I took my number 3 clipper guard to take out the bulk. Then we're going to go to the number 2, the 1.5, the 1 to the 0 to create that neck blend. Make sure you open your clippers to get rid of the bulk, and then close your clippers in order to blend. Another technique I like to use, I like to use my shear over comb to make sure. This technique is used to create texture and that help take out some bulk that was left from the clipper. Now what I do is I use Gots to Be Glue freezing spray, and what I do is I prepare the hairline to get edged. What that does, it freezes the hair in place, so that way it creates a crispier and cleaner line when you're edging. So I'm taking my Andes outliner and I'm going to begin to create the back line. Getting the bulk out is very important so that it doesn't leave a line of demarcation or you don't have that mushroom effect. So now that we faded everything out, what I'm doing is I'm edging the edges or edging the sides. And all I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm doing cleanup just to ensure that the haircut has that detail in it. So now that we finished the back, what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing on the sides, but instead of balding the sides, what we're going to do, we're going to shadow taper the sides. So again, like we started in the back, we started with the number 3 as the highest guard. So we started our first guide with the half, and the shadow taper only means that it's like right before it gets to bald, you still have some stubble, because he still wants his beard and his side to connect. So now I'm going through the necessary steps of fading like I did in the back to the sides. So now that we got the sides and the back faded, what we're going to do, we're going to create the edge around the front perimeter of his hair, and we're going to start shaping his beard and his mustache. So now we got the beard out the way with the clipper. We're gonna go in with our razor. We're gonna create that nice, sharp, crisp line using our razor. So now we got the fading and the tapering out the way and the beard out the way. We're going to go back to the section that we started with in the beginning. We're going to start in the back of the head. And what we're going to do, we're going to recomb the hair, redampen the hair to get it prepared to get trimmed. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking at how much of the hair we're going to trim off. That looks about 1.5 to 2 inches that we're going to remove of dead hair. 0-degree elevation, that means that there is no raising of the hair. The hair is actually on a flat surface at 0 degree. To make sure that the hair is even. His hair is thin, so you don't have to create subsections within the section. You can pretty much see everything that you're cutting because everything is at 0-degree elevation. So you bring everything that reaches all the way down and you cut the amount of hair that you guys discussed that you're going to cut off. Okay? So what I'm doing now is I'm just going in and I'm just making sure that everything is even and is balanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take down the side section. And what we're going to do, we are going to blend in the side section to the back. Now as you can see, the front part of his hair is shorter than everything else. So in order to get that even with everything else, we're going to over direct the hair at an angle to ensure balance. So just like we did in the back, we're going to do 0-degree elevation. We're not lifting the hair up or anything like that. We're just cutting it flat to the surface, the 1.5 to 2 inches that we discussed. So right there, what we're going to do is we're going to over direct the hair in order to get those split ends. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, you want to make sure that you saturate the hair to create evenness all the way around. And we're still over directing the front part of the hair at a 45-degree angle just to make sure that we have the front short pieces trimmed as well as the longer pieces. So all I'm doing is I'm taking hair from both sides just to ensure that it's balanced and even on both sides. I'm over directing the hair to make sure that it blends in with the longer pieces of the hair. Of course, parting the hair again and sectioning the hair ensures that the haircut will be balanced and even. And remember, when cutting curly hair, to not cut with a lot of tension. You want it to allow the natural curl to be able to bounce. If you cut with a lot of tension cutting curly hair, you will run into the problem of cutting too much and causing too much shrinkage. So what I'm doing now is I'm going and I'm creating a guide at the top. We did a 0 degree. The 0 degree elevation was not going to get all the spill ends that were in the interior of the hair. So I'm creating a mohawk-like section, and I'm cutting at least 2 inches off that. And I'm going to use that mohawk section throughout the rest of the head as my guide. So what I'm doing is I'm not putting a lot of tension when I'm pulling. I'm kind of resting my arm a little bit so that his curl bounces back and I'm not cutting too much. So I'm holding it at a 45-degree angle, and as I'm walking the hair upwards as I'm cutting towards the guide. Now once you cut everything, you want to check the opposite way of which you cut. So if you cut upwards, you're going to check downwards. If you cut at a 45, you're going to check at a 45. Always cut the way, or always check the way that you cut to ensure that the haircut is even all the way around. And this is the final product. We did an undercut taper with a 0 degree elevation, 45-degree layer cut, and we also did a beard trim. This is Kimmy Cuts, the Master Barber Stylist Extraordinaire.